Do you agree that there's always something you can learn to improve your audience engagement? Then you are in for a treat with our next presenter. Let me tell you a little about her. Rebecca Murray is the owner of Showcase Your Shine, a communications consulting and multimedia production firm located in Mount Vernon, Washington. Rebecca works with clients who want their influence to shine on screen, on stage, and in person, to open more doors and inspire more minds. Tonight, Rebecca plans to inspire you through her presentation, How to Craft Your Stand-Up Engagement Plan for Screen and Stage Success. Please join me in welcoming distinguished Toastmaster, Rebecca Murray. Welcome, Rebecca.
Well, hey, y'all. My name is Brenda Sue. How do you do? Now, I know you're all expecting Rebecca tonight, but she's a little bit busy in the dressing room, so she asked me to come out here and warm y'all up. Is that all right? You need warmed up? Okay, then why don't you do this with me, because you've been sitting down for a while. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to rise up from your chairs. I'd like you to stand up from your couch, or at least just think about it. And then here's what I want you to do is to stretch like this. Go on, like that, just like that. Okay, that's a good stretch. And now this one over here. Just like that. Excellent. And now we got to do the back. Of course, I want you to do something like this. It's real easy. Okay. All right. We're done. You can stop now. That's all we need to do. How you feeling? All right. Now, let me ask you this in terms of rising up out of your seats. When was the last time? And you all speakers, right? Y'all like talking to each other. Okay. Because I'm a singer, obviously. When was the last time you heard somebody speaking at you that got you to rise up out of your seat, that changed the way you think, you feel, or made you want to get up and do something? Maybe it was that Ashwika who was just talking to y'all. Now, I'd love to know the name of the last person who inspired you like that. Would you mind putting it in the chit chat, please? You got this chit chat thing going. Would you mind putting that name of that person right there? Yes, of course, Ashwika. She's going to be all over the chat. In fact, she's just going to blow it up, I'm sure. Okay, well, we got, yes, Ashwika. Oh, isn't that nice? Somebody said, Brenda Sue. I'm so thrilled. Well, listen, I know you're all here tonight because you want to be that speaker, don't you? That makes people feel, think, or want to do something because they spent time with you. Did you want to inspire like that? Oh, what's that? I guess Rebecca's ready. Well, hold on. Let me go get her for you. Well, this has been Brenda Sue. It's been my pleasure serving you, and toodaloo. Brenda Sue, always playing with the Stream Deck. Oh my goodness, girl. I just can't ever get her to keep her hands off of the Stream Deck. She just misses the crowd cheering, don't you? Oh, I do too. Now, I'm Rebecca, okay, just in case you were wondering. I overheard the last part of what Brenda Sue did during her little warm up with you, and I really appreciate the fact that she could do that. I know we're wearing the same dress, but that's, that happens sometimes with us. It's like kismet. So here's my question for you then. She was talking to you about being that speaker that we all want to be, to inspire people to think, to feel, and maybe even do. But there's one thing that I know is true about speakers like that, is that they come to the stage ready to engage. They thought about engagement and they have honed an engagement mindset. And that is what we're going to speak about tonight. But even before that, they do something else because they are content ready. They've already crafted and curated their amazing presentation. They've put on their engagement mindset, and then they come to the stage. But here's the thing about engagement, is that we all interpret engagement differently because we see the world differently. And I don't know about you, but I've seen those speakers where I can be mesmerized by their artful delivery, and they don't even move in their chair for 20 minutes. I'm not that kind of speaker. And not every presentation needs what we're going to talk about tonight, but it makes sense to give thought to this concept of engagement to see if a little bit of engagement infused into your presentation can just lift it up. It's like the icing on the cake or the sprinkles on the icing. So that's what we'll talk about tonight. And I want to hear from you too, because I'm going to learn something from you tonight, and maybe you'll learn one thing from me. And that's all that I ask, is for you to look for one thing and one thing only, whether you hear it from me or learn it from somebody else in the chat, one thing that you decide that you are going to put into your next presentation at your first opportunity. One thing. And it may require you to be a little brave and bold and move outside of your comfort zone. And it may be a total flop, but I'll tell you, it's in the trying that the magic truly awaits for us. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you about this one thing at the end of the presentation. We will all share out our one things. Does that sound all right? Okay, do I get agreement there? The one thing? Great, thank you. Now, before I tell you what's coming up next in the next 30 minutes, I would like to talk about the elephant in the living room. Marna, what's the elephant doing in the living room? I don't know. Did you leave the door open again? The elephant in the living room, what is that? It's the one thing that we think a lot about, but we rarely talk about. And that is how to shift your mind from wondering if people are hearing you when you're looking at somebody's face on a screen and there doesn't seem to be any reaction when you're hoping to see one, and not letting that throw you off balance. Now, I don't know about any of you, but have you ever experienced anything like this in your audience? Have you ever had anyone fall asleep during one of your presentations? I have. And it's not fun. I just hope, like, please don't snore, please don't snore, please don't snore. But the thing is, we don't have control over how much sleep somebody got the night before, whether they find us funny or engaging. The only thing you can do is to bring the very best you to the stage, ready to engage with your awesome content. That's it. So we have these 4 principles. Well, before I share these 4, let me share a quote that I've had on my Facebook page for years. And I'm sure this, even though it came from my brain, I have a philosophy that nothing is really original because there have been people on the earth for a long, long, long time, lots of brains, lots of thoughts. So I say it's my quote, but probably it's a million other people's quotes, right? Here we go. Be your own best audience and you will always be entertained. So even if you're the only one who's entertained by you, which I often am, I'm happy. I've had fun. So that's the rule number 4, or point number 4, is to have fun. So number 1, content ready. Yes. Ready to engage when you go to the stage. Bring your very best you. And lastly, have fun. What's the point if you can't have fun? All right, so we've covered the one thing. We've covered the engagement mindset, those 4 points. What's coming up next? Well, you all have seen possibly a handout in the chat. In fact, let me show you what that looks like here. It is a PDF. I invite you to download that now. And I'll be showing this PDF from time to time as I go through these 5 points of engagement. And then we're going to have an exercise where you get to test yourself on your engagement identification skills, then I'm going to give you a virtual tour of my studio. We'll have time for probably a few questions, Q&A. We're going to review everything, and then I'm going to leave you with something really special that I crafted just for you. All right, let's dive in. Okay, that's just to give you a preliminary hint to blow up the chat whenever possible. There we go. Okay, step number one, master your virtual image. What does that mean? That's your light, that's your audio, that's your framing. Make sure you don't have laundry in the background, those sorts of things. Get a decent camera if you can. And here's the one thing that I've noticed, and we're not going to do a deep dive into this today because this is a 90-minute program in and of itself. But I will say that when you see someone in your club and you're giving an evaluation, or even if you're not, if you observe something, because most of these things are little tweaks, right? The lighting, like don't have a bright light behind you, all these little tweaks. If you see something that you feel is taking away from that person's image, that is preventing them from being the star of their frame, please tell them. Now, sometimes we share these things with people and they come back week after week looking the exact same way, but at least you've told them. And I look at it this way. If we were meeting in person and I was giving a presentation, I would be very unhappy if at the end of the presentation, as I walked off the stage, someone came up to me and said, I just want to let you know your zipper was down. It would make me very unhappy. Pull me off the stage, I'll fix it, I'll come back on, make a joke of it, but at least I'm not, So this is, please, please, please share these things. All right, that's all we can do. So for those of you, since I'm not going to go into this, I've given you two options here, and you can share both of these. One is a video for those of you who like to sit back, watch, learn, and listen. It's an interview with me not too long ago. It's a 40-minute interview where I covered lots of these principles in detail. If you watch this video in the first 7 minutes, you'll see how this troubleshooting thing works, because we troubleshoot an audio issue that someone starts picking up on, and we're trying to decide, where is this coming from? And we actually take care of it right then and there. They wanted to cut it from the video, and I said, no, please leave it in. This is great learning. So there's a video, and then there's also click to download a 7-point checklist. Did you know that according to experts, it takes the average human less than 7 seconds to make an impression of another person? Like, we assess people that fast, whether we're in person or we're on Zoom. So 7 seconds, less than 7 seconds. And that's why it's important for us to share these things that we see and hear with somebody. Audio is one of the things that can disconnect the fastest. Poor audio. Okay, that's enough about that, said Forrest Gump. Step 2, craft your engagement plan. Now, what I use, and I'm going to show you an example of this, I use a red pen. Once I have my awesome content ready, then I have it here, I have my points written down. I take a red Sharpie to identify all the ways that I'm going to engage my audience. Now, why do you think I choose the color red? Why red? Why red? What's special about red? And I invite you to put that into the chat too. Why red? Why red? Why red? Why in the world red? Why red? Does anybody have an answer? It's bright. Yes, Aswika, right. What else? What do we associate red with? You notice it more? Shocking, it stands out. Yeah, like stop. Here's the thing. If we forget half of our content, but we still keep the engagement pieces, our audience is still going to walk away with something really important. I'll do a 90-minute workshop, that Master Your Virtual Image workshop. And you know what people talk about at the end? The breakout sessions. That's what they love. It's not, oh, Rebecca. It's like, wow, that breakout session was so awesome. So this is how I know for sure that it's the engagement that people want. So red is how I call attention to it. In fact, tomorrow morning, early, I'm giving a presentation to a Rotary Club down in Bellevue. And this is my engagement plan right here. Yes, my handwriting hasn't changed since the 5th grade, but here we go. And you see everything that I'm going to engage with is in red, everything. And this is what I put right up here. You'll see the one that I crafted for you tonight when I give you the studio tour, and I just hone in on those engagement pieces. Okay, hand out. I am right on time. Awesome. Here's the exercise part. And one of my papers just flew away. I'll be right back. Yay. Okay. Get revved up for this because this is the fun part. This is interaction and lots of fun. What I'd love for you to do is to take a plain piece of paper, a notepad, something on your computer. You are going to make 3 columns here, I, AV, and E, and make these lines just like this. So you're going to keep hash marks of some videos that I'm going to show you. But before I show you those, let's come back to this handout because we are going to review steps 2, 3, and 4, and this is where you come in. This is where I need your expertise. So let's talk about step 2 is crafting the plan. So what are we going to craft the plan with? Steps 3, 4, and 5. Let's take a look at step 3 here. Step 3 is audience interactions. Audience interactions. I would like to know, what have you used, and this is in person or online, in the last year that has worked well for you? What have you used that has worked well for you in terms of having that interaction? It's creating that 2-way street. It's a way for us to listen to our audience so that they're not having to listen to us the entire time. I don't know about you, but I get tired of my own voice. Yes, props. Okay, interaction. So that might be chats, polls, and I'll tell you, I was in a presentation earlier today and I learned a new one. Write this one down. I thought this was brilliant because it allows you to get a poll or for people to give you information and build it on one screen in Zoom, but all through text. Super easy. And it is called Poll Everywhere. Poll Everywhere. It's an excellent. So raising hands, yes, breakout survey, virtual hot potato. I want to know more about that one. Okay. Doesn't that sound interesting, y'all? Props, yes. It stands out visible from long distance. Okay, great. So I just want to call your attention to that. Now, number 2 is audio visual variety. What's audio visual variety? What's an example of that? Share what you have done and what's worked well for you in terms of audio visual variety in the last year. Well, okay, we'll say 1.5 years because again, I want to include in person. What works for you? Anyone who is unable to locate awesome handout. Oh, here it is. Okay. Here, pictures, right? So slides, video. This is where props come in. So you enter a prop into the screen. That is visual variety. You create a character with another voice like this maybe, and that's audio variety. Using sound effects, using music like Ashwika did with her slides. Yes, look at all these great, fantastic, thank you. And last, but certainly not least, that's entertainment. What I've listed for you here, and I think it's definitely worth to study the greats of old-fashioned television. You know, when television was first starting, most of the programs were live. They were trying things out all the time to see what worked and what didn't to get the audience's attention, right? And so if you go back and look at these shows, they didn't have fancy graphics or special effects. It was just people. It's really like us in person, doing our presentations in person. So we can learn a lot from these older television programs And so I've listed some of them for you. You can find them all on YouTube, I am absolutely sure. But here's the thing before we go to the exercise, is that when we infuse anything into our presentations, we want to be purposeful. I call this purposeful creativity. So for purpose, what is purposeful creativity? Purposeful creativity is infusing your interactions, your audio visual, your entertainment into your presentation and having it support your message, that it makes sense. Now, if it doesn't make sense, like, Verna, why is she wearing the shower cap? I don't know, maybe she needs a shower. It creates a conversation in our audience's mind, and it pulls them away from what we are trying to share. So it causes confusion. So word of caution, when you're trying these new things, just make sure that it supports everything that you're hoping to achieve. All right, now back to the exercise. So here we go, we're back to this paper again. Now, what do you suppose? I'm really good at reading lips. So what do you suppose the I stands for? Introspection? No. Yes, interaction, absolutely. How about AV, reading lips again? Audio, visual, variety, very good. And entertainment, that's entertainment. We've covered that. So what you're going to do is start here. Then in this exercise, you are going to try to identify in 3 short videos that I'm going to show you, that I've picked out little snippets of video from presentations I've done in the last year. And you are going to rate how many interactions you see, how many, just with little hash marks, how many audio visual change-ups do you notice? And in terms of engagement, how many points of engagement? Now, here's the thing. Everybody's going to come up with a different total. This is really hard to do backwards. Everybody's going to come up with a different number at the end when you total these up. And that's what we expect, because we are all different. So what I'll do is I'll show you each of these short snippets of video. You'll keep track of these 3 things, and then we'll share our numbers out in the chat at the end of each video. Sound good? That number is what I call your engagements per minute. Now, there's no magic engagements per minute number, not like laughs per minute. For a comedian is something like 6 or 7 laughs per minute. You're a great comedian. With EPM, it is just paying attention to engagement. That's it. This just gets you to pay attention to it, craft some in to think about it. Okay, let's go to the first video, shall we? Standing by. And this first snippet that you'll see is from a women's empowerment conference that I spoke at in February. It's called The Confidence Equation. It's one of my signature presentations, and I hope you enjoy. If you looked at my college transcript, you would know I'm not very good at math. I actually changed majors to get away from math, but I do happen to have someone in the studio with me today. I'm so excited to introduce her to you. And she's a mathematician extraordinaire. She hails from England. So I'm just going to go over here, bring her on, and hold on just one moment. Oh, there they are. Oh my goodness. It's like the Hollywood Squares or romper room. You know, that Nancy lady was a very good friend of mine. My name is Mrs. Kia. That's K-I-A, stands for Know It All, and yes, I do. And today I'm so pleased to tell you about the confidence equation. Are you ready to learn this, ladies? Nod your heads. Very good. Good on you. Well, we start with a very simple calculation here. Well, I've had to simplify it for Rebecca because, as she told you, she's not that good in math. She's good at other things, so I keep telling her, don't let the math erode your confidence. There we go. Here we are. It's very simple, as you see. C equals K plus E, which is greater than equal to MC squared. Have you heard of the MC squared, darlings? Nod your head. Yes, you have. Very good, good students. Now the first C, let's figure this out together, because me telling you won't help you learn it. You need to learn it yourselves, right? The first C, it does not stand for confidence. What does it, could it stand for? Another C word related to confidence. You've just learned this from Rebecca. What is it? Put it in the chat, please. What is the first C? You're using your brains. That's right. It is courage. Now the K plus E, I'll go ahead and tell you what that is. It is knowledge and experience, which you get every single time, no matter what the outcome, when you use your courage. Isn't that lovely, darlings? And the MC squared, that simply stands for confidence in me, like the song you just heard and that lovely Maria. Well, that's all. That's it. I have my tea and pie waiting for me. So I'll get you back to your Rebecca.
Rebecca, we can't hear you.
Thank you so much. So I'd love to see what numbers you have. What was your total EPM for that snippet? What was your I plus AV plus E total? Please put it in the chat. 4. Great, Marie. Thank you so much. 6, 8. Wow, even an 8 from Nadine. 6. And see, this is exactly what we would expect. Numbers all over the board. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Now, the next snippet is just to, this is a speech that I gave actually just a few weeks ago. And I was trying to, sometimes we just want to shake things up. Sometimes it's just how we enter the room that can get somebody's attention. And when we met in person, every once in a while, if I was going to dress up as a character or do something special, I would tell the Toastmaster ahead of time, I'm going to be in the hallway with the door just cracked open, listen for the introduction. And as soon as the introduction's finished, then you can make a grand entrance. It's a bold thing to do. It's super fun. Highly recommend. So here I am in my studio. This presentation is called Embrace Your Inner Winner. I'm dressed up like a jogger and I'm thinking, should I enter from the right? Should I enter from the left? And then I got an idea right at the last minute, right as the introduction was being read. And this is sometimes when the best inspirations come. And when they do, grab a hold and go with it. Take the risk and be bold. So what I did instead, you'll see how I entered, and it was from the camera and looped on back. So I just wanted to show you this to give you a little bit of inspiration. It's my 5th 5K. Boy, if I can just, oh, hey there. Yeah. Oh, hey. Gosh, everybody's passing me up. Feel all alone here. But I'm gonna pass the finish line. Here I go. Woo! All by myself. Let me check my time. Whoa! Beat my time, yo. Victory dance. Whoa! Now let me ask you a question. How is it possible that gal could feel like a winner when she came in last? And that's it. If you would like to see that speech, it's actually super fun. Inspired by not doing well at a contest. Actually, I always get these massive surges of creativity when things don't go well for me. I've got to do something with that emotion, with those feelings, and so I usually channel it into something like this. So it's fun. I'd love to see your EPM for that snippet. What do we have for the Embrace Your Inner Winner? 2. Thank you. I don't know if the 9 was for the last one, probably. Anybody else? Diana, thank you. Saeed, thank you. 4, 5, 3, 4. Excellent, everybody. Wonderful one. Wonderful. All right, the last one This is a presentation I did the month before COVID. This is last February at a Chamber of Commerce. And what I want to show you is two things. First of all, have you tried giving handouts? Raise your hand if you've ever used handouts in a Toastmasters club. Okay. You can never win with handouts. Have you learned that? You can never win. You give the handout ahead of time. The evaluator comes up and she says, well, you did a really great job, but I would prefer to have gotten the handout at the end because I think it was just distracting sitting there. So you say, okay, I'll do it again and I'll give the handout at the end. Give the handout at the end. The next evaluator comes up and says, you know, it was a great presentation, but I would really have liked to have that handout at the beginning. So what I've learned is, right, you just can't win. So I'm going to show you a hybrid situation. Let me go to it right here and I'll pause on the handout itself. So this is a handout. This is a presentation called Let's Be Clear. And I just let people write. There's an acronym that I go through so they can write things down and then make their notes. And this is about presentation clarity. But this is what I do now with all handouts. I'll show you the next page or the back side. The back side looks like this. It adds intrigue. So this piece of paper is folded, and all anybody can see when they sit down is this: do not open until instructed. What do you think's going to happen? There will be some people who do a little peeky. So it allows a little bit of humor at the beginning of your presentation to say, okay, I want to see a show of hands. Come on, who peeked? And there will always be a few people. And of course, everybody knows it's going to be them, right? So there's a big laugh. So anyway, it's kind of fun. And then as they open it, then you can explain it. So this is how I've decided to do more of a win-win, a creative approach to handouts. Now, in the video that I'm going to show you is another technique for audience engagement where you think of, in this case, I thought of the movie and I get them to think about the movie that most people have seen. And you'll see what I do in terms of getting them to respond to me throughout the presentation. I set it up so that at the very, very end, I spliced in just the very end so that you could see what happened, which actually totally caught me off guard. So here we go. Do you all remember that movie, A Few Good Men? Starring who? Tom Cruise and?
Jack Nicholson.
Yes. And do you recall that pivotal scene? It was very dramatic in the courtroom where Jack Nicholson is sitting there and he says, "Am I clear? Am I clear?" And Tom Cruise, as cool as a crisp cucumber, says what?
Crystal.
Crystal. Crystal. I'm going to be checking in with you at different times today, asking you, am I clear? And if I am clear, what I would love to hear back from you is
Crystal.
That is all of our goal up here when we're up here. But we don't often know we're unclear. With clarity, we can share laughter and we can share tears. We can also share what we've learned and learn from our audience as well. So friends, let's be clear.
Crystal.
Yes! That was so cool. Everybody's like, Crystal! Did not anticipate that. So what was your EPM for that one? Maybe not as high. Maybe it would be higher if you were actually in that audience. So maybe I'll just ask you, if you had been in that audience, would you have, oh good, we have some numbers here. Thank you. That's great. Yes. So I just wanted to share a few techniques with you, something maybe to try next time you have a live audience or people can unmute. That's the thing. It's a little harder when you can't have that give and take, and we just have to find new ways to create that two-way street. Okay, studio tour is next. I always get questions on the studio tour, and then we'll have time for a little Q&A and a summary and something really special. So stand by and I'll get this other camera going here. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're up and rolling. Here we go. So I will just show you here. There's the dressing room. As you can see, I could not decide. Brenda Sue was just like, I don't know, maybe you should wear the red one. Maybe we finally settled on the pink one. Here is the laptop that I'm running Zoom through on a monitor, which you see that monitor is right under a camera. Now notice how I'm using the color red to draw my attention to the lens. Here I have a plethora of lighting. Here's a couple things I didn't want to forget. This is what I'm running off of tonight. There I have my times, and only the engagement really is what I'm focusing on. Here we have another laptop that I ran the videos and the slides off of, an A10 Mini Pro, and my doodads. There's the Stream Deck, and there is a light. I'm not going to be able to show you the light up here. There's a light behind me that's a hair light. So I need light behind me because I have a black background and I want to pop off the background. And we say some sound baffling there because I have very, very high ceilings. All right, that's enough of that. There we go. You know, I wanted to come back to, well, let's open it up. We have a few minutes for Q&A. Before I share a couple of things, and Baxter, are you here tonight? I'm going to share something that you told me that I still think about. Let's open it up. Oh, Nan, I wanted to see if there were any questions that already came in. Oh, thank you. Thanks, everybody. Are there any questions that you all have that I could answer? My question, oh, Susie, what did it say in the intersection of the back of the handout? What was the point of the exercise? How do you relate it to the message? So the point of the whole exercise is simply this: to pay attention to the engagement piece. The longer we speak and the drier our content, the more we need to pay attention to engagement so we don't have everybody falling asleep in front of us. So it's really just crafting an engagement mind to think about it. What might make sense for me to be able to hear my audience? I mean, the stand-up comics really have this, the successful ones have this nailed down, don't they? It's a conversation with their audience that they're having. Okay, how long have you been speaking? Public speaking, or in Toastmasters, Ashwika, would that be the question? I joined Toastmasters in college for a couple years, in my 20s for a few years, and then rejoined again in my 50s. And here I am. What device do you use to mix multiple videos? Saeed, would you mind unmuting and asking and give me more information about your question? If you can unmute. Can he unmute?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks, Rebecca. My question was, like, I see you have some devices to mix multiple streams of video. What's the device?
Oh, yes. I use the A10 Mini Pro. So the A10 Mini Pro, this was, you know, I mean, I'll actually go back to this third camera here. You can plug in multiple cameras. This is this device right here. And see those flashing buttons, those 1, 2, 3, 4 flashing buttons? Each of those buttons, you can actually plug in a camera to, or even a laptop, which I did for one of them. And then I ran those videos and the slides off of my laptop. So it basically sees my laptop as a camera. And then this whole thing gets plugged into my laptop. And this laptop that's running Zoom sees the A10 Mini as a webcam. And basically it becomes a camera switcher with just these simple buttons. So it's pretty cool. And very reasonably priced, like $550. But you can get one that's even less expensive, is like $350. Okay. If there are no more questions, then, okay, okay, here's one. How do you do different accents? I heard British, Southern. Yes, I just love accents. I've always been an accent person, grew up with characters. In fact, I found some old pictures of myself and I was always dressing up and playing different characters. I think maybe it's because I didn't get enough attention as a child. I think that was the issue. You know, always trying to get somebody's attention. Don't ignore me, don't ignore me. I really, truly think so. So that's how I've cultivated these. And sometimes I'll just go on YouTube and I'll listen to different accents and try to learn different accents. I'll tell you, the hardest one for me is Australian. That is tough. Have there been, and Irish, that's also tough. Have there been people who have got you down and said that nobody would listen to your speech? How do you overcome this? You know what? I go back to this quote, and I'm going to show you this quote again. Oh, I'm on a different thing. Is be your own best audience and you'll always be entertained. I have really always felt that way. This sounds weird, but I'm even a little embarrassed to say it out loud. I'm thoroughly entertained by myself. I mean, I can watch a video of myself and I will enjoy it just as if it was somebody else. Serious. I know it's weird. And again, I think maybe it goes back to my childhood, but I just, yeah. So I don't care in a way. And this is that going back to that mindset thing. You know, when that person fell asleep in front of me, I really felt like it had nothing to do with me, that they were just tired or uninterested. I have no idea what is going on in anybody else's life. So really, truly, what I'm telling you tonight is how I live and bring my speaking. I try to bring my best me for me, because I'm going to be watching this video later. And I want to look at myself and go, hey, you did pretty good. Victory dance. So that's how I do it. Okay. And here's the thing, and why I'm hoping that Baxter is here. This reminds me, you know ABBA, the group ABBA, there's a song called Take a Chance on Me. Take a chance on me, take a chance on me. And I think, okay, take a chance to be brave, bold, and brilliant in your engagement techniques. Try something new. Go into the little bit of an uncomfortable zone and see what works. You may be totally surprised at where you find yourself. Now, not everybody's comfortable doing what I do. I wouldn't be comfortable doing what's comfortable for you. And here's the example of that. I remember a couple of years ago, Baxter telling me, it was after a presentation at a conference, and she said, you know, Rebecca, that was really good, but the one thing I think you need to work on is eye contact with people in the audience. Like not just skimming across, but like making eye contact for a few seconds here, making eye contact for a few seconds there. And I'm like, that's just way too scary for me. I would much rather just talk to a camera. Seriously. So what's comfortable for you may be hugely challenging for me, although I want to rise to that challenge. When she said that, I thought, yes, I do want to get over my fear of looking at people in the eye for more than just a couple seconds. I really do. Not too long, because that would be weird too. All right. Yes. I want to know your one thing. Could you share your one thing? Boy, I'm so glad I didn't forget that. What is the one thing? Please share this in the chat. What is the one thing that you are going to try at your next opportunity? One thing. Try. One thing. I wish I had a song for one thing, but I've got nothing. Be my own best audience. Thank you. Yes. I will plan my engagements before my speech, maybe even using a red Sharpie. Now, if you're going to do a presentation with somebody else, I type it out and I put certain text in red, like anything that's an action item is always in red, and anything that's engagement is always in red. Okay, I want to write no peeking on the back of my handout. Yeah, it really works. It's super fun, super fun. As long as I'm as amused, I'm okay. Use Rebecca's studio. Okay, it's well, I'll send you my rates. I'll send you my rates, Lee. Okay, Michael Dugan, don't turn over. Challenge myself to something uncomfortable. Absolutely. I'm always nervous before I try anything new, and I'm always nervous before. I was nervous tonight. I'm nervous every time before I speak, but I love being nervous because that means I care and that I have energy to sustain me. That's how I look at that. Okay, be comfortable being an entertainer. Yes. Who said this? Who said this? We learn best in moments of enjoyment. Who said that? We learn best in moments of enjoyment. Ring a bell? You did. It was actually Ralph Smedley. Ralph Smedley, Toastmasters founder, who founded Toastmasters International almost 100 years ago, although it was 20 years in the making. 20 years he did not give up. And because of his persistence, because he knew it was possible, Ashwika, we are here tonight. Yes, inspiring to be that speaker who changes the way people think, feel, or maybe even gets them to rise up, to want to do something amazing. And we do it together, right? We help each other. We can't, as Ashwika said, we can't do it without each other. So in the spirit of that thought, that we are in this together, it reminded me of a Broadway musical. Now, this musical goes way back, a musical called Gypsy, starring Ethel Merman. And if you don't know who Ethel Merman was, and you're not familiar with the movie Gypsy, there's always YouTube. So in this song, Together Wherever We Go, I'm going to sing just a little bit of it for you tonight. And then I'll invite you to sing the chorus with me. Are you ready? Okay. Through thick or through thin, all out or all in, and whether it's win, place, or show, it's you for me and me for you. We'll muddle through whatever we do together, wherever we go. Sing it with me. Together, wherever we go. Yeah.